This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 183. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where we're talking about painting, modeling, and wearing experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 videos a week. Could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. We have confirmation on what the prices for a lot of the Kill Team products are going to be, and a little bit of information about the game. Like they're moving away from shapes and back to actual inches to denote measurements in Kill Team. But you know it'll never outgrow squares? Your own personal website with Squarespace. Squarespace allows anyone to break into website design with easy-to-use features like the new guided design system, Squarespace Blueprint. Choose from a professionally curated selection of styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. Squarespace makes sure it's easy to launch your own website and get discovered faster with integrated optimized SEO tools so you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. Or your own online storefront. Whether your services are physical, digital, or service-based, selling your wares has never been easier with Squarespace's seamless checkout tools. With a Squarespace website, your customers can use whatever payment system they prefer, whether it's credit cards, PayPal, Apple Pay, Afterpay, or ClearPay. Selling your unique wares has never been easier. Squarespace offers a free trial for you to dip your feet into and test the waters, and ready to dive in headfirst, you can go to squarespace.com/EonsOfBattle or follow the link in the description below to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Kill Team is moving into its 3rd edition, which seems like a subtle refresh, kind of like the difference between 8th edition and 9th edition, where 10th edition 40k was like a full rework of the game. 3rd edition seems pretty darn close to 2nd edition. Or is it 2nd edition is close to 1st edition? Because it's a little bit nebulous where we are in the Kill Team universe, because Kill Team 2018 was it was sorta kinda Kill Team. But then there was like Kill Team, like there was real Kill Team with Kill Team in 2021. But anyhow, the new box is Operation Hivestorm, and I actually got to see the box. I don't have the box, but I got to see the box because a friend of mine has it. It's pretty cool. The terrain actually comes with enough terrain to play the game. Like every Kill Team box has come with terrain, and I guess technically Into the Dark was perfect for what you need to play the game with. To some extent, the walls were pretty darn finicky, and most people wanted the broken walls that only came in one of the boxes that year. Like that one was okay, but all of the ones that came with actual 40k terrain were pretty lacking in terms of how much terrain you want. With Kill Team, you want a lot of terrain, but the new box comes with a lot of terrain. And the 2 teams, the Aquilon Scions and the Vespid Stingwings, oh, they're really cool. I really like the drop Scions. I like Scions in general. I love their lore. I love how they look on the tabletop. And weirdly, a lot of people don't, but I feel like Scions are 40k. Scions are like, special ops soldiers that actually look Baroque. They have like some medieval iconography and design to their armor, which is the look of 40k. Like that is what it's supposed to look like. Where Khazarkin are fine, but Khazarkin are just normal, like modern soldiers. The Tempesta Scions are where it's at for me, and I really like the drop Scions. It broke my heart when they did not feature in the new Agents of the Imperium Codex, because they should. In the lore, orphans of Imperial Wars, and there's a lot of orphans, are all collected by the Imperium, and then the women go to the Adeptus Sororitas, and the men go to the Scions. And so they're like a part of the Inquisition. There used to be a unit called Inquisitorial Stormtroopers, but for some reason Games Workshop stopped using the word Stormtroopers. Maybe there's another popular like fantasy sci-fi genre that uses Stormtroopers as one of its main baddies. But whatever the reason is, the Stormtroopers were a part of the Inquisition, and I want to do that too. I would love to do an Inquisitorial army, and I guess I still can do it. It's just gonna be kind of a runaround way of doing it, where I take an Imperial Guard army with a lot of mostly Scions, and then take like 500 points of Inquisitorial agents. Like there's ways of doing it, but I wish they were just part of the Codex, because that would be neat. But as much as I love the Scions, the Vespid Stingwings are really interesting. They're big. In person, they're really big. They might be a smidge bigger than like Primaris Space Marines, and they're definitely bigger in footprint because they also have the wings and all of their weird giant arms and giant guns. It looks like a really cool team. It'll be really interesting to see exactly how they play, because at the tail end of the previous edition of Kill Team, it seems like Harlequin Troop And like all of the kill teams that had fly, which was it just Harlequins? There was a couple, like there was a smattering of units that had fly, but the Harlequins were the only one where everything could fly. And it was OP because kind of getting like infinite good movement is really, really powerful. So it'll be interesting to see how these flying teams work as opposed to the normal like on foot teams. I wonder if there's gonna be some sort of a limiting factor to fly, like only a certain number of units can fly at a time, or your fly isn't as good as it could be. Like it's kind of like grapnel launchers for Space Marine Reavers. They can ignore vertical distance in their movement, but they still have to just move normally. And I think that's a reasonably fair way to handle it, because if it's just always as the crow flies, and it's like, well, I gotta get to that objective that's 11 inches that way, you know, having to use all of your movement to get there and maybe some shenanigans, just being able to zoom onto that spot is a major, major benefit. But in addition to the 2 awesome teams and all of the terrain, you also get the core book, which Games Workshop is for some reason charging $60 for, which feels a little bit outrageous because it's not even the 40K BRB, the big rule book. It's just a little paperback thing. I mean, maybe it's hardback, but it doesn't matter. Rule books, it is kind of nice when rule books are hardback because then they lay flat, because when you're, you know, in your first few games when you're checking every single rule and double checking every single rule, it's nice to have it lay flat. But that doesn't add like $10, $20 onto the value of the book. I'm sure it's just one click on the button that says, please make the books hardback or softback. And you know what, softback, because it's just a rule book. I know a lot of people are very precious about their codexes, but I am not. I have like so many softback codexes. You just crush the spine until it lays flat, highlight things, write things in the margins, bend over the pages so that you can see they're like dog-eared and you can get to them quicker. It's just rules. It's not like there's a little bit of lore sprinkled in there, but I think you'll beat those books up because, you know, in 3 years, you're gonna need new books. So why not just ruin them? But yeah, it comes with that book and the new tokens. Previously in Kill Team, you could take upgrades like grenades, flash grenades, grappling hooks, stim packs, and it was just kind of ethereally attached to your guys in the same way that every Space Marine unit has grenades tucked somewhere on them. That now they're actually physical tokens and they come in the big box. And in addition to that, there's also all sorts of new tokens for like tiny scatter terrain for the game, which looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. There's like ladders, barbed wire, smoke screens. That sort of stuff looks really, really interesting. And all of this stuff is wrapped up into one big box for 230 bones. That's a lot of money, but it's not disgusting. Especially since I do think if you're gonna get a big box from 40K, especially one with 2 factions in it, you should be splitting it with a buddy. Number 1, because that guarantees that you're gonna have somebody to play with. Number 2, because you're gonna like one of the teams more than the other. And so, you know, you're gonna, if you're a Vespid Stingwings person, you're gonna be like, yeah, Vespid Stingwings. And then you'll get around to the Scions, but then you never do because you're like, yeah, Vespid Stingwings. And then when you're done with those, you're gonna be like, Eldar Corsairs. And then they're just continually gonna get pushed off and you're gonna have wasted your money. So split that box right down the middle with a friend. Get it from a friend at the local game store for 15% off. It's gonna come in at around $100. I think that's pretty fair to get into Kill Team, get all of the terrain, all the tokens, all the rules. I think that's pretty darn good. Kill Team was always kind of meant to be the gateway drug to 40K, but it's kind of not really. It's its own game. And I think it's fine being its own game because it plays well, it's reasonably balanced. A lot of the teams are very unique compared to things that you can get in proper 40K. And so I think it was really nice, like trying to get friends into the game and being like, see all these boxes that are about $60? You just pick whichever one is coolest, and then that's your one box of guys. You don't need anything else. You don't need anything. Just get those guys, paint them up. I'll help you build them. Like, it was perfect. And so recently they all left the Games Workshop web store, probably, we all assumed to get reboxed, and now they're back on the Games Workshop web store, or they're going to be pre-ordered soon, and the prices have changed. And if you thought that the prices have changed, they went down, you don't know Games Workshop. Now, I don't often talk about price rises because it just sucks. And what else is there to say but it always sucks, and do everything you can to not pay full price. Buy from your friendly local game stores. Don't, buy from online retailers, eBay. secondhand models, do whatever you can to not pay full price, because full price is pretty darn yucky. But usually the full price is not like just confusing, and the new prices are confusing. There were a few little things that were a little bit yucky, like Space Marine Scouts being $65, where, you know, for 10 Scouts, it's $65, but Space Marine Intercessors are $62.50. So for some reason, Scouts, which are smaller than Space Marines, cost an extra $2.50. And it's like, I see what you do in Games Workshop, you sneaky little guys, because this box is orange, you're charging me $2.50 more. But that's almost a pill I could swallow. What I can't swallow is these new prices. As of next week, Space Marine Scouts are gonna cost $80. What do you do? It's gross, it's outrageous. Yes, they are gonna come boxed with some cards that are for the game, and they're gonna have, I think, some tokens. So that justifies $15 extra. It doesn't. It really doesn't. And before anybody gets too scared, for some reason, and this is why these new prices are confusing, not every single kill team is $80. That would almost make sense, like, because they're all the same thing. They all give you around, 10 to 14 models that you can play the game kill team with, but a lot of them are still kind of regular price, and a lot of them are really, really expensive. Space Marine Scouts, $80. Dark Eldar Mandrakes are $80. The Night Lords, $75. Orc Commandos from all the way back from the first box Octeris, $70. But the Leagues of Votann, a pretty darn new kill team, $65. And that's $65 with an upgrade frame. It makes no sense. So like if you buy Hearthkin Pioneers, I think they're like $62.50. But if you want to get the kill team ones, it's $65, but hey, they come with an upgrade sprue with a whole bunch of extra goodies that you can glue onto your guys. Punishment fits the crime, like you get a little something extra. If you're a Votann player and you like to be a little special, maybe you do buy the kill team box just to have a little extra bling to spread out on your guys. That's kind of worthwhile. Space Marine Scouts are just 2 sprues. It's 4 sprues, but 2 of them are mirrored, of the regular Space Marine Scouts. There's nothing that makes them kill team. There's no extra heads, there's no unique weapons only available in kill team. Those are the same Space Marine Scouts that every Space Marine player needs right now. Like, Scouts are a really important thing, not just in the lore and the history of Space Marines, like Scouts are a fundamental thing of the army, but also because Scouts have uppy downy, which is a really important rule to have in 10th edition, because it means that you can take your guys off the battlefield at the end of your opponent's turn, you can put them back on the battlefield in your movement phase, and that's really important for scoring secondaries and just, I guess, like, annoying your opponent. Like, those sorts of rules are really important, and Mandrakes have them too, by the way. And so everyone wants Space Marine Scouts right now. I want Space Marine Scouts right now, and I didn't buy them at $65, and now I'm gonna have to, like, I don't want to spend $80 on Scouts. There's nothing that makes them special. They're just Space Marine Scouts. It's identical to Space Marine Intercessors, but they cost actually more than $15 if you compare them to Intercessors. It's just kind of gross and bizarre. Like, how does Games Workshop, I would love to know, because the prices are all over the place. Some of them almost make some sense. Trader Guard comes with a buttload of models, so maybe it does cost a little bit more than your average kill team. But Scouts don't. Mandrakes don't. Eldar Corsairs, a really cool, like a completely unique to kill team group of guys, $65. I don't get how Games Workshop is making these prices. The only thing I can figure is that they want to experiment with prices to see what happens. Like, maybe Hearthkin Pioneers aren't that popular just in general, and so they're like, if we charge $80, nobody will buy the $80 kill team. Everyone is gonna buy the normal $62.50 box of Hearthkin and just say they're for kill team because they are. But for Scouts and Mandrakes, we're not that lucky. You can't just buy those for regular 40K. They don't exist. They only exist for kill team. So even people who don't want them for kill team, like me, we either have to get them or just not have them. And it's kind of leaning towards not have. I really want mandrakes. I know my buddy Scott the Miniature Maniac has mandrakes because he bought the Kill Team box that had them in it. And well, technically he actually paid a little bit more because he got the real box, but I can't get them right now unless I want to spend $80. And I don't. It is really confusing why they would structure the prices this way. And it also just makes it a little bit more annoying for newcomers. Like what if, you're showing your friend Kill Team and you're like, hey, we should play this game. Look at all this stuff. And then it'd be like, ooh, you know what I love? Mandrakes. Those guys are awesome. Why are they so expensive? And he's like, yeah, the prices are just all over the place. Okay, well, I'm gonna pick something less expensive that I don't like as much. Like that's really lame. They should all be the same price or at least around the same price so that somebody could be like, I get to pick from a list the ones that really speak to me. But now your wallet's factoring into it where you're like, I'm gonna pick the ones that are the most interesting to me that I am okay spending that amount on. It's bizarre, and $80 is a frustrating pressure point because that's darn close to 100. And for just a little bit more than 100, you can get a combat patrol, you can get a spearhead, and spearhead is a wickedly fun game. You could get into other games. You could get Space Marine 2, which is really, really fun. You can actually get that cheaper than Mandrakes and Space Marine Scouts right now, and it just came out. And you can play that sucker all day long. Speaking of Space Marine 2, I played a little Space Marine 2. I'm 45 minutes into the campaign, but I have 8 hours on the multiplayer. The multiplayer is really fun. I still play 2009 Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. That's my comfort game. I really, really like it. Even the multiplayer, it's still kind of active. It's horrifying on the computer, on PC because of people cheating, and it's kind of a nightmare, but it's still really, really fun to play. Space Marine multiplayer, pretty darn good. You're just a big, slow, silly Space Marine, and you run around and you shoot each other and you chainsword each other. I don't know anything about games, and so I don't know if it's a good PvP or if it's bad, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. And the campaign is also pretty darn good. I think I liked fighting the orcs in Space Marine 1 just a little bit more, but the Tyranid are still a lot of fun. And I'm super, super fresh in the campaign, so maybe it scales up. Although I'm having a little bit of trouble just in the first little bit. So we'll see. I'm playing on normal, which for me means ultra hard, but I'm making it happen. And speaking of making it happen, I have a tournament coming up for 40K, and so I've been getting some practice games in, and y'all better believe I've been rolling some dice. I've been rolling some EonsBattle dice, available at EonsBattle.com. EonsOfBattle.com is the best way to support us doing what we do with a membership. Each month, members get a credit that they can use on our new monthly terrain pack or any previous pack we have ever made. For the month of September, we here at EonsBattle are proud to announce the Whimsical Cottages. Fantasy buildings perfect for a game with a ye olde flair. Move your models around the quaint homes, the roomy houses, or set up shop with the tavern. With this terrain, you can make an entire town complete with pumpkins, giant mushrooms, and trees to really fill out a game board. My practice games for 40K have been going decently well. I definitely took a break from 40K after my last RT, and so I was really rusty coming back in, and my first game back was against Genestealer Cult. Genestealer Cult is rough, a humongous horde of bodies. But then I played against a Sisters Army, and it was a wickedly fun game. At the end of the game, I was pretty much cornered with one lone op guy left, but then his entire army pivoted to chase me down. And so there was my one little Space Marine lieutenant with combi weapon, and then 3 Castigator tanks and an Immolator just sitting right there ready to shoot me. But he was a lone op, so I was outside of 12 inches, so most of his stuff didn't get to shoot. It was a beautiful 40K moment. I have been having a ton of fun with Warhammer 40,000, but I'm a little nervous at Kill Team. Things are going in a weird direction. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the confusing pricing and locking 40K units behind a really expensive Kill Team paywall. It wouldn't bother me at all if I could buy Space Marine Scouts for $62.50. But then there's also Scouts with the cards and tokens for $80 if you want to do that Kill Team stuff over there. That would be acceptable-ish. But yeah, just having 40K units that I need locked away in another game that Games Workshop says is a gateway to 40K, they're really weird. I don't know what to think about that. Thanks for watching.